Hi, I'm your host Pranav. I'm a student of Freshen College of Design. Today, our guest was Mr. Tejonidhi Bhandare, the CEO of Reliance Animation, as well as producer of Krishna and Kans, Little Singham, and Smashing Simba. It was a very great experience. His words are really inspiring. I hope you enjoy the video. Krishna or Kans, Little Singham, and Smashing Simba. Do you know who is behind this? Hi, I'm Pranav Kadam, and today our guest is Mr. Tejonidhi Bhandare. He is the man behind all these amazing shows. Hi, sir. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we all are very excited. We all are very glad to have you here, and we all are very eager for your answers. So let's get started. Firstly, sir, you are from finance background. So how you entered into animation? How all it started? Please tell us.
So I've always been into finance, legal. So my education is basically become CS, LLB, and more into finance and legal aspects. It all started in '98 when I was in the second year BCom. So I've been doing job since then, and it's been my now it's the 25th year I'm in the job.
Congratulations.
So it's always been finance, legal, and all of those aspects. It's just that company changed from IT to animation. And when I started my career at Reliance, my role was finance and legal only. But slowly I started developing interest into animation, content, art, how this entire space is panning out. And then I started taking interest in business management.
Okay.
And the role got enhanced over a period. Now it's been my 15th year with Reliance. So that's the journey basically from finance to, you may say, a business management role. But yeah, that's about it.
Thank you, sir. Have you ever have an interest in drawing or any part of animated?
I always had interest in watching content.
Okay, sir.
Watching content, critical analysis of the content. Also, I am very keen in connecting the dots between the contents. The classic example is Little Singham. Singham was our IP, and we kind of were brainstorming on what we can do in animation with Singham. And the idea was to create a Chota Singham.
Yes, yes.
And that's the way we thought, why not cater to younger audiences? And those kind of connecting dots really helped me to build IPs from where we were and where we are today.
So, sir, one man to 1,000 people. How do you manage to build such a strong force for Reliance?
So I always keep on talking with even students, our employees, about 3 P's that are very critical for the success of anybody in this industry. One is your patience, one is your passion, and one is your perseverance. These are the 3 very critical aspects when you think of especially this sector, animation, visual effects, because it takes a lot of patience to really build a company or build your career into this space. And you need to have passion, definitely. Perseverance is one P which is applicable for any sort of career. But these 3 P's all put together are very critical when it comes to building even a career or a company. So it all started with re-strategizing on what not to do in this industry. Because people keep talking about what is required and what needs to be done. There are multiple thoughts and school of thoughts rather on what we can do in this industry and what we should, what can take it to a next level. But what not to do is very important. So re-strategizing that entire space and the learnings that we had from our failures was one key element which made me really think on expanding from where we were to where we are today. I was the last man standing when we had nothing
Yes.
on the floor. And from there to what we could build with 1,000+ artists today working on multiple shows is a really big thing to achieve. And the entire credit goes to the team efforts, the talent who has been working on this, the directors, including our support staff, may it be HR, admin, or operations. So it's a team effort. Definitely, you have to just show a path, and team has to work accordingly.
So, sir, we all are very keen for Reliance. We all wanted to apply for Reliance. We know where Reliance is today. So, how does Reliance came into animation and become a huge production house?
So Reliance basically took over the company called Anirites. Anirites was into animation. They were doing shows like Banyad for the Western studios,
Okay.
and also Indian IPs like Little Krishna in association with ISKCON. And that company was based out of Bangalore.
Okay.
So Reliance Entertainment was at that time thinking of venturing into multiple opportunities of developing content. Because animation is not only technical thing, but it's about telling stories. Animation is a medium, nothing else. If you have a story, it could be either live action or it would be animation. So they always wanted a content development company, and we had this thought process of building our own IPs. So with that vision in mind, Reliance took over that company, and from there the journey started. And now here we are developing more and more content for domestic audience as well as international audience. To answer your question, how do you really come to Reliance, or if you have an interest to work with Reliance, again it falls back to the same 3 P's. One, and secondly, I think for anybody to work with any production house, a sense of ownership is very important. You need to really own what you're doing. Otherwise, it really becomes a mechanical job. And animation, especially, is not a mechanical job. You need to really understand the process of animation. You need to own what process you're doing. Because if you don't own, like for example, today we are sitting here. If you don't understand where the camera angle is, or if you don't really understand what you really want to show, till the time you'll not be able to give your 100%. So that sense of ownership or that sense of understanding, imagination, all of those skills are very important. And if you have those skills, I think not only Reliance, why Reliance? I mean, there are much bigger companies than Reliance as well. Sky's the limit for you guys.
Yes. Okay. So I watched your video. In that you mentioned in India, animation is considered as cartoon. So what should be done to change the mindset of people?
See, animation per se, if you have looked at the journey of animations, in India particularly, we started doing service work for the Western countries. And most of the content that we serviced was for children. It was mostly children content. After that came an era where we started building IPs. Most of the IPs were around mythological characters. Whether it is Krishna, Ram, Arjun, Bhim, all of those characters. And it was very easy for us to use those characters because we were catering to children only. And for parents, it was a safe bet for them to really make children watch this kind of content. Because they were all aware of the characters, they were all aware of the stories, and it's a safe content to watch. Then came an era where we started telling stories, telling domestic stories to the audiences. But again, we were catering to children as a content. So we were catering to 6 to 12 age group, and primarily because we had that kind of platforms available in India, which were only showing that kind of a content. We even didn't have anything which was catering to preschoolers. Now we want to venture into content development which is for youth.
Okay, sir.
But for that, the most critical aspect is to understand that animation is for all ages. It is not only for kids, but with the advancement in technology and especially with the OTTs coming over, I think we have had access to multiple contents from abroad. Like anime is a classic example.
Yes, sir.
I don't know whether you had heard about anime before coming to animation. I definitely didn't hear about anime per se. But if you look at today youth, everybody is watching anime.
Right, sir.
And which is originating from Japan. Why not India? Why can't we create content in anime? But that's going to be the next step, whether it is anime or whether it is animation for youth or for older audiences. But that awareness is very important. And that awareness slowly will start building when you have access to content which is being developed even outside India. And we think beyond boundaries because we have been thinking for domestic audiences. When you start thinking about global audiences, you will see the change happening and you will see awareness being created for animation. And then the bar will be raised from cartoon to animation. So that awareness, creation of that awareness is very important, and that responsibility lies with us, all of us who are a part of this industry.
Yes.
Because when I came into this industry, frankly, and I said that I'm joining an animation company, the first reaction from my house was that you're joining a cartoon company. And it all started there. So creating an awareness right at the home first and then expanding that is our own responsibility. And making them aware that it is not cartoon, it is animation, we'll have to speak about it. And the moment we start speaking, that time that awareness will grow and we can expand the scope.
Right, sir. Right answer, sir. And sir, I have a query about digital content and television content. Can you please elaborate this?
See, content is the same. Okay. Whether you tell it through TV as a platform or OTT as a platform or digital platform, content is always going to be the same. It's just that your viewership changes. Now, technically, if you look at TV, your audience is restricted to 6 to 12, especially in animation category. Even that has breakup. Like boys watch animation till the age of 12. Girls fall out of animation at the age of 10 when they start watching Sasbo, right, with their mothers. And the study says this. So, keeping them engaged on TV platform is very important when it comes to developing content for TV. And only volume can really help the platforms engage the audiences. So when it comes to TV, it is a volume game. When it comes to OTT or digital platform, it is kind of a less volume where you can tell your stories within limited episodes.
Okay.
Plus, the TV, if you have a volume, it's all non-linear stories that we tell. Because every story is an independent story. Even if you look at Little Singham, Chota Bheem, Motu Patlu, all are independent stories. But if it comes to digital and a limited episode series, the stories are linear. So you have one story which is told over like 10, 11, 12 episodes. But here you can have 500 episodes, 1000 episodes, and all are independent stories. So it's about which platform you want to develop it for and what is the audience that is going to be. And in India or globally, this is the segmentation that has happened. And that could change over a period. So it's very difficult to say, okay, this content is for OTT. It could be for TV also. I mean, there are multiple people or multiple platforms who are trying to adapt to the changes which are coming in. So you really can't categorize per se, but as I said, I think that's the broader category of the content.
Okay. Sir, talking about IPs, Hanuman, Bal Ganesh, and Little Krishna. These all are mythological IPs. Today, Little Singham, Smashing Simba. These all are Bollywood-inspired IPs. So why don't we try about anime and some content for adult? So what we should do?
So that we are into phase 3 right now, as I said.
Yeah.
We started with services. We went into a phase where we did mythological stories. We are right now into a phase where we are telling domestic stories, whether it is in the form of Little Singham, Simba, Motu Patlu, Chota Bheem, everyone is right now catering to domestic audiences and telling domestic stories, because we have a vast story bank in India per se. But now the phase 4, which we are slowly entering into, is a phase where we are going to tell stories for youth and much older audiences. For them, whether it is animation, anime, 3D, 2D, 3D, or any other format, like a mocap or any other format, that format doesn't matter. What matters is the storytelling. How strong your story is and how strong that story is going to hold up for that particular target group. So it's going to be the format and the storytelling which is going to play a very important role, rather than the shift that we intend to do. That shift will gradually, organically happen as we grow and as we start telling stories to the older audiences. So when it comes to older audiences, it could be anime, because they're already prone to anime.
Yes.
So that shift will automatically happen, organically happen.
Okay. So as you are from finance background, every animator will be willing to have his own studio, establishing his own studio. So what steps should be taken to build his own studio?
See, there are different schools of thoughts when it comes to this question. But I personally will not advise any animator or artist to really start his own studio. Because, and I've seen this personally, he loses his interest in art. Suddenly he starts managing his cash flows for the studio. And the passion that he has towards animation or towards art is somewhere lost in that bargain. So if he has somebody who can really take care of the financing part, the business management part, perfectly fine. But if he is wanting to do it by his own, I personally will not advise, because he is an artist.
Right, sir.
He has to invest his time, energy, money, efforts, resources, everything into art. Now, if he starts investing into cash flows, managing rent, managing operations, he will not have time to really focus and imagine about storytelling or about the art that he is keen in doing. I think my opinion is this, but if anybody wants to really start, it's simple. I mean, there's no rule, there's no rocket science about it. But he needs to have a clear vision what he really wants to do. I think his vision will really define his path.
Yes. Yes, and sir, I would like to ask you, what are the key developments that you have seen in animation in past few years, and what should be adapted?
See, we started with the traditional 2D, 2D Flash, 3D, Maya. Now you have open source Blender. Then you have Unity, you have Unreal, you have mocap, a lot of things coming up.
Okay.
Also with the immersive technology, metaverse, I think we will have more role to play in metaverse, because you really need to create an avatar, and that can be done only by an animator. So there are multiple opportunities right now. Changes over a period have definitely happened. Also, the bigger change that I have seen in the last couple of years, especially after COVID, is the level of storytelling or the expectations of the audiences has really grown. Especially after COVID, people had access to OTTs. They have seen content from across the globe. They have seen how the stories have been told across the globe. Anime is a classic example. I don't know whether you have watched Naruto and Boruto, all of those series, which is like thousand plus episodes. And the way children have been following it, and the way the stories have been told, their expectations from Indian animation has also grown. So that is the paradigm shift that has happened. And I think we have to really grow up to their expectations. We have to match their expectation in terms of storytelling. That is going to be the key aspect. Technology will anyways play a role.
Right, sir, right.
But the storytelling will be the key element for success.
Okay, sir. So, and sir, what should animator focus on? His salary, what should he focus? Like, how much salary do I get? Should he follow the salary or should he follow his passion? What?
As I said again, if you look at all these questions, you will come back to the 3 Ps.
Yes, sir, yes.
Again, if somebody wants to really come out of a course and wants a salary of 20,000, 25,000, that's not going to happen. He needs to have a passion, one. He needs to have patience. He needs to really work towards getting that kind of a salary, because it's all your practical that is going to matter. And it's your experience that is going to count. It's not only a bookish industry per se. It's a practical oriented industry. So the more you practice, the more you imagine, the more you put your efforts into the output, that is going to define your career path.
How do you manage the finance for a animated film or a show?
So there are multiple models of financing the show. And let's look at only 2 models, just to be specific how this industry works. One is a acquisition model and one is a commissioning model. So if you have an idea of making a film or a series and you have a finance by yourself, or you have a financer to fund that, you create that series and then go to the platforms for acquisition. Right? So you produce it and you take it to the platforms for acquisition. The other route is you have an idea, you approach the platforms for commissioning that project. So they become the producer.
Okay.
And they commission the show. Accordingly, the finance is been done by the channel or the platforms. These are the 2 things. There are multiple layers to this, but broadly these 2 should cover your financing aspects.
Thank you, sir. And for one last question. What key points would you suggest for the upcoming animators?
So key point, as I have already said, I think patience, passion, and perseverance. These are very critical aspects. Also, I don't know whether you have heard about the book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, written by Stephen Covey. I am a big follower of that.
Okay.
And those 7 habits are very important. So anybody really wants to build up a career, I think he should read that book.
Okay, sir.
That will really help him build a career.
Okay.
And also for me, I have been following a very simple technique of doing any job or any activity per se. I always do a smart job.
Okay.
Now, what does smart mean in layman language? Is it easy work? No. But smart has a different meaning altogether.
Okay.
So every word is defined. SMART is defined So if you set up a goal, if you have a vision, it has to be a SMART goal.
Okay, sir.
So S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable, R stands for realistic, and T stands for time bound. It's a management theory, but if you look at all of these things, then your goal also will be defined accordingly. Because you cannot really define a goal which is unreal, which is not realistic. Today, if you want to build up a film like a Disney film, it might sound unrealistic. So what could be realistic within your resources is what is important. Now, if you think of reaching out to a moon, and I want to start up a studio in the moon, on the moon, is it realistic? No. Is it time bound? No. So you need to have a SMART goal. And for everybody in this sector, I think they should work towards achieving SMART goals. And once you understand this definition, I think it will be easy for everybody to build up a good career.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for especially thank you for the 3 Ps, and thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to speak about this industry sector, and thank you.